Hey, Ramo.
Hey
How's it
Naveen,
going?
good, good. How are you? How's Dubai?
It's getting super hot now. It's very humid. It's getting hot. How's it there in Bangkok?
It's always hot in Bangkok as well. Sometimes I wonder who's living in the hot desert, you or me. As you can see, the snow is melting like crazy.
So, what's the plans for today? What are we doing?
Well, we are going to, well, no, you are going to answer some questions that we've been getting from students, people who have been following us on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, and we'll try to make it like fast paced. So fire the questions at you fast, and then
Okay.
hopefully you'll answer them fast. And
Okay.
well,
I can't promise you fast. I mean, it depends what these questions are. Is it like, what do I eat or something like that? Then maybe I can do it fast. Like, but anything else? We'll see. We'll see. Okay. So
yeah,
it's fast fire round, I guess it's called, or what is it?
yeah, something like that.
Okay. It's like, okay, cool. All right. Cool.
Okay,
Cool. All right.
first one by Mohammed. I've
Okay.
learned so many things about trading and forex. I know I love it, but I'm lost and confused. It's like a lot of info, but without a plan. I don't know what to do with it. Where do I start?
Okay. I think that's a very good question because I think many people are in that situation. You see, this is the problem. You said fast fire around, and you ask me questions like that. Like, how do you do this in one sentence? Like,
I was already gonna say too slow. Next,
like,
but I'll,
like, hold on, give me a second.
let's
Give me a
answer it.
second. Okay. Okay. So, for Mohammed's question, I think it's a very good question. It's a very important one. It shouldn't be taken lightly. This can cause a big major issue for many people because what they're doing, from the sounds of it, is Muhammad's information is scattered. Like he'll be studying online, he'll take in a little piece here, support resistance, taking a little piece here, trend lines, taking a little piece here of the foundational pieces of trading. He'll take in a little piece there, crypto trading, and then it's all scattered there. And then when he looks back, he's like, I have a lot of knowledge, but I don't know where to begin. That's because it's all disorganized. I think the fastest way for your quick fire round, the fast thing I can say is a word that many people will familiarize with is format and reboot. Okay, which means get rid of all that knowledge, restart it, start from a structured, organized format where it's like do your basics again, even though it's easy, you know it. Do it again, make sure nothing is missed. Do the next piece after that where you're finding yourself an edge, okay, whether that be a strategy or whatever it is. Then the next piece on how you're going to do your post analysis for that edge. And then the next piece on how you're going to improve on anything that you notice in your post analysis. Now, if you don't know what post analysis is you're trying to fix any mistakes that you've noticed yourself doing. That is very key.
Yeah.
So keep that structure in that format and put that on loop, and you'll be fine. But
So to summarize, Mohammed has to get out his Man in Black pen, like flash it without sunglasses, erase
yes,
memory,
like
and then
just hold it the
start
other
in a
way.
structured way.
There you go. There you go.
Next up, this question is by James. How do you make sure that trading remotely works for you? Because there's a lot of people who they want to get out of the 9 to 5 story of their life, and instead of going to the office they want to just trade from different places, whether it's the beach, the swimming pool, a coffee shop, or sometimes at home. Many of these places are remote, everything apart from home basically. So how do you make that work for you?
Okay. Well, what I personally do is I generally go to different types of coffee shops throughout the day, and in fact, if you go to Dubai Mall, I think all the staff in all the coffee shops, if you show them my picture, like I know that guy. They're like he comes here all the time. Like I feel like I work there. So if I go through the malls, they'll be like they know me. A lot of them are actually even urban forex students, surprisingly. So, but one of the main things I look for personally is internet stability. You want to make sure wherever you go, there's internet stability. If not, you need to have a backup, your 4G card on your phone or 5G these days. Make sure everyone doesn't get cancer around you. It's like that's controversy. I'm not going to get into that, but you can do that if that's your thing. And then plugs in case your whatever equipment you're using drains out of battery within hours. Then you want to make sure
Oh,
you
okay.
have either a power plug or a power bank
Yeah.
to give you backup life. One thing I personally like to do, I use a privacy screen on my laptop as well, because the world of trading is becoming so popular now that everyone walking by is like, huh, I wonder what that guy's doing. So it just becomes irritating when people are staring a little bit too long and you get conscious. You're like, can I help you? Like, so people start looking at you. There is one thing I want to point out, though. There's one thing I want to point out. This situation happened to me. Sorry, that's the end of that question. But I want to put it to match up with the quick fire round. That's the end of that question. But then I want to put in my personal experience. I'm going to share with you, Armo, actually what happened. I'm in Dubai Mall, and so I'm using my AirPods Pro from Apple, right? The noise canceling stuff that they have. So I have noise canceling on. I'm on a call with my prop traders, and I'm trying to explain to them certain methods and techniques. And one of the techniques I was teaching them that day is during a pullback, they want to buy.
Yeah.
So I'm at the coffee shop, earphones in my ear, noise canceling. I'm so in the zone. I'm unaware I'm outside my house.
Yeah, you're in a cave.
So I'm speaking.
You're in a cave.
I'm in a cave. Like I just totally forget that I'm in a public place and I'm zoned in and I'm speaking and I'm saying, all right, guys, one major things you want to remember is when you see two legs, okay, I'm referring to the pullback. When you see two legs and it slows down, you attack. And only afterwards I realized when people were turning around and looking at me and they're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Is he a kidnapper? Like, what? I was like, what? Why is everyone looking at me? What did I say? But you have to understand when you're speaking in a public place, just understand they don't hear both sides of the conversation. They just hear you. So please be careful of what you say. It can come out the wrong way.
Context.
So I was using words like when you see two leg pullback, you attack. That time I said, when you see two legs, attack, especially if it slows down, because that's where you're going to make the most money. And it was just coming out the wrong way. And they were looking at me and one girl had their eyebrows slightly down as well. I was like, oh man, they're going to arrest me here. They're going to think I'm some kidnapper or something.
And at that moment, all the women started to run away. They slow down.
So yeah, just be careful on those type of situations.
Yeah, duly noted.
Yeah. Or don't use noise canceling, just.
All right, let's have a look at the next question. This is from Sombezzo. Mm-hmm. How does one drill in the trading skills in such a way that one changes from being an unprofitable trader to being an elite performer, profitable and consistently?
Okay, so there's a fine line between becoming a pro and the unprofitable trader. One of the main things between these two is obviously the daily habits that might be completely different. Now, it does not mean an unprofitable trader is lazy. An unprofitable trader can be the most disciplined person you've ever seen in your life, and he can still be doing things wrong because of his knowledge of what he has about the market is all wrong. Okay, many people, they come into the market, they study something from the internet, and they put in hardcore hours. But what if that knowledge that you are putting hardcore hours behind is incorrect? You see, it's not like like the typical school. You get a high school degree, you can go get a job, make a little bit of money. You get a master's degree, you get a better job, you make a little bit more money. And then when you do your PhD, you make the most money, right? In Forex, that line, it's either you make money and then you make more money, or you don't make money at all. There is no, but I've studied for 2 years, I should make some money. There's no such thing. There's a line there that says profitable now or not profitable.
Yeah, exactly.
So that has a lot to do with the routine and what is the edge you're working with. Maybe you're working with an edge that simply just does not work or is explained wrong.
Yeah, or it doesn't suit this particular person.
Yes, that's also true. Sometimes the personality doesn't match with the edge where someone might be aggressive, but the edge is very conservative. So that's another thing to watch out for. A good question, though. Good question.
Well, that one was pretty fast, but we can do better. Next one, Greg.
What am I doing? What is that? 60 seconds a piece?
Greg, I would like to ask how to manage a trade when it's in the red. I've always struggled with that. If my trade is going well, I'm okay. But when it's in the red, I always struggle with cutting my losses or letting hit my stop loss.
Okay, so this is again a very common thing, and the reason why a lot of these questions are actually quite common questions, and the reason why this is also another one that's common, and the reason why I'm saying it's common is I don't want you to feel bad that you're the only one having this issue. Everyone goes through this issue. So, Greg, if you look at anyone in the trading market, when they just enter the markets or they've been in the market for some time, the whole focus goes on to what do I do to get in? What do I do to enter? What do I do to enter? And once the trade performs, whether it goes positive or negative, they don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
Because they didn't train for that part and they didn't prepare for that part of if it goes for me, where am I going to get out? What's my exit plan? If it goes against me, well, what am I going to do with that? Am I going to cut my losses or stuff? So not only is there no plan, but because there's no plan, no one's visualized it enough times where they repeat it in their mind and they see it over and over again. They haven't done that enough to be like, if that happens, I know how I'm going to respond. So one of the things to do with that is make sure your plan is done before you get in. You do not make that plan after you get in. Because if you do it after you get in, your subconscious mind and your conscious mind will be so focused on trying to make money that he cannot think calmly and be like, this is a danger area. Be careful of this. Your brain's only going to be, this should be a buy. This should be a buy if you're in a buy. This should be a buy. So it will hijack your brain.
Yeah.
So be very, very careful with that. Make sure your plan to exit is done before you even do your entry.
Okay, so I think I can summarize this in two or with two things. It's one, and most importantly, is to not have a plan. So you need to have a plan basically before you get into your trade, and it needs to be before the trade because your brain gets hijacked a bit when you're in the trade. And secondly, it's also a bit of experience that you need, of being in a trade, being in a profitable trade, or being in a trade that goes against you, and knowing how to manage that. But it goes hand in hand with having a plan. Without the plan, there's no way to go to make this, end well, basically.
Yeah. Training after entering to train the mind to do better after the trade is activated. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
But training ahead of time before you enter for the exit plan, it'll be a lot faster. It's the fastest hack around it.
Okay, great. Next one. This one is by Natalia.
Okay.
Hello, Naveen. How to emotionally handle unsuccessful trades and how to stay motivated. So this one lines up a little bit with the previous question. And I think let's focus a bit more on the how to stay motivated after having a losing trade.
Okay. So Natalia, maybe open the question in this way. It has nothing to do with trading. If I remove the word trading and I put in anything else, whether you're in a job or in a business or anything like that, it all comes down to how much do you want to succeed in that industry or that particular thing that you're trying to do. You can remove the word trading and put any other word in there. So what will motivate you is your love for that particular thing, project, industry, whatever it may be. If the love is there, you'll be able to sustain the difficult times, because the difficult times will always be there no matter what you do. There's no such thing as, oh, it's beautiful from day one. It's always going to come at you. But for you to survive those times, you must have some kind of an internal passion for it. So constantly reminding yourself of, all right, today was a loss, or this trade was a loss. Okay, what do I learn from it? What do I understand from it? How can I do this better? So you are going to feel at times when you have 2 losses in a row, 3 losses in a row, you are going to feel emotional about it and be like, what is wrong with me? Is there something that I'm doing incorrectly? Is it my psychology? Do I have bad luck? Is the broker against me? All of these factors will start coming into you. But the reality is that trade failed. What do you learn from it? All the feeling that you're getting, it is something you are creating on your own. But the reality is trade was wrong. And the only thing you can do is understand what was wrong with that trade and solve that problem. But by thinking of all the external factors of, do I have bad luck? What's going on with me? I don't think I can do this, or blah, blah, blah. All of these things are created in the mind as a fear tactic. Try to avoid it like that. Like I said, if your love for the project or industry that you're in this case, trading, if it's strong enough, you will be able to sustain this down move and come out winning onto the other side. Okay. I hope that helps.
I think summary here is, again, sort of two things. So one, having love for what you're doing, and two, being able to rationalize the results, basically, especially if they're negative. And maybe this ties in with another question we got, and that is from Dulage. And he asks, how do I find my why? So why trading? Why try to make money from trading?
Okay, so yeah, they're connected with Natalie's question. So how do I find my why? If you weren't trading, what would you be doing? You'd probably be working somewhere, right? Having a job, or you'd be on YouTube, or you'd be on Instagram. You know, these are the different option in today's world, right? Either you're on social media creating content like day and night, and that's your job, and you're just living this illusion of a life, or you are at a job trying to do something that's fulfilling enough for you to be good at it. But your why comes from whether you do that job and it's 9 to 5, it gives you a salary, for example. But if you're just working to get the salary, you're always going to think, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Yes, it's paying the bills, but what am I doing here? The older you get, the stronger that question is going to become, which just means like, I'm getting older. I'm getting weaker on the body. I'm getting mentally tired. What am I doing here apart from just paying the bills? So is the answer reduce the bills? No. The answer is you're doing something that is not fulfilling. Okay. So if you now come to trading and you're saying, what is my why in trading? Well, it's the same thing. Why are you here? Are you in trading because you want to learn how to trade and become really good at it because you're fascinated by it? Or are you here to replace a 9 to 5 so you can make an income from this thing to do something? You need to answer what that something is if that's the case. And if that something is, let's say, buying a yacht, for example, but then the trading is not giving you that, then any losses that you make in trading is going to make you feel, what am I doing here? At least in a job I was earning, I was getting closer to the yacht. But in trading, I'm making some losses. It's taking longer to learn. Why am I here? That's the deterioration right there. That's why the question will come up. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So you need to understand, are you trading to trade, or are you trading because you're trying to fulfill a means of something else? Because then trading has less value. You can change it to something else and be in a different industry altogether, which is a lot easier. Trading is like going to med school. Okay. It's like going to med school. And I'm sorry, many people tell you trading is easy. Bring them to me. I'll slap them for you. Like, trading is hard. We have mantras in our company that says, trading is actually easy, but the mantra is to tell yourself it's easy, pass the hurdle. It's easy, pass the hurdle. But it takes time. It's like going to med school. Okay. So that's my quick answer for that one.
It's just giving people an existential crisis.
I'm sure after listening to this, everyone's like, what is my why? Am I in the wrong thing? Like, I don't mean to get into that where it confuses many people, but it's a question that should be answered for everyone. For everyone, it needs to be answered.
And actually, I think we've also done a webinar, or you've also hosted a webinar on this, where you go really deep into finding the why and the purpose of everyone's trading. So we'll find it, we'll link it up. Next question, Hamilton. How long will Forex trading be around for, or will Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency take over soon?
Okay. So that's an interesting question. And I don't think another industry will take over per se. Could be wrong on that. And the reason why I say that is because when the stock market was around, Forex came along. It is much, much bigger in terms of volume than the stock market ever will be. Yeah. But yet stock market's still around. Stock market is still a preferred way to trade for many, many people because it's an asset that can go one directional. In Forex, you can't go one directional. It doesn't work like that. It's a currency pair. You can only trade for a limited portion of time, right? You can't just hold it and expect outlandish returns. Crypto is another stock market style. You can hold it for outlandish returns and it goes one directional. Now, will cryptos replace Forex? That is a question I cannot answer. But I don't think Forex is going to disappear anytime soon because it's fiat trading. And fiat trading, as long as there's someone in the office with power, fiat trading will always be around.
Yeah.
Now, unless you can guarantee me someone in the office with power is not going to be there tomorrow, then I would be scared of that world. I don't know what that world would look like. Hopefully I'm dead before then. But that would be one scary world to live in, because then it would be everyone saying, I know better for myself, because the average person honestly does not know better for themselves. It would be just headless chicken running around.
Yeah,
so that would be a scary world to be in.
But too much for my taste as well.
Yeah, it'll be way too much mafias who have a little bit of muscle power and force that would come after everybody.
I think we're on the same page there. All right. Before going into total anarchy, let's go to the next question by Samad. How to trust my analysis? I have a bit of a problem with taking trades with my own analysis. How do I develop this skill?
Okay. That has a lot to do with your edge. I think you're dealing with an edge that is losing so frequently that you're starting to worry about, if what you're doing is wrong. Okay, so to trust your analysis means you need to replay that scenario with your analysis, back testing it, forward testing it enough times that you know this thing works. If you know this thing works, and then when you trade it live, you will trust your analysis because you've seen it work.
Yeah.
Here's an example. We've all seen prejudiced people, right? Prejudiced people, how do they become prejudiced? They use a certain amount of data from the past and they project it into the future. That's how it works, right? That's how our brains are wired to work. They use an X amount of data from the past and they project it into the future and saying that's what's going to happen. So to trust what you're doing is right, you need that data. You need that data. So you can say, okay, this analysis that I'm doing, I think it's right. That trust will only come if you have data from before.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And
that makes sense to you?
To get that data is to trade on a demo account.
Trade on a demo account, back test it, forward test it, just do it enough times where you know this edge works.
Yeah. I think that's a very clear answer and pretty fast too.
Yeah. I think I'm beating my own record.
The bar was not very high, but
hey, I'm doing my best here.
We can see how high we can set it by the end of this meeting.
All right, cool.
Question is by Marianne. In my first month of trading, I realized I'm too aggressive of a trader. I get on a trade too early a lot of the time. What advice do you have for trigger happy people like me, except for be patient?
Okay. Well, the answer is be patient, but at the same time, you said if it's not being patient, what would it be? Okay, so Marianne, okay, trigger happy shows me two signs. One is compared to the last question that we just had by Samad, there is more trust in your analysis than he or she had. Okay, you have more trust in your analysis, which means it's getting you more FOMO that I got to get in before it leaves. You are using data that you know that this is supposed to launch and you're getting in a little bit too early. You got to get that balance in, and that balance is only going to come in is if you use your post analysis and rewire yourself to calm down. Okay, now what does that mean? You need to look back into, if you've taken a trade for a buy, you do the buy, it comes down a little bit more, stops you out, and then the buy happens. Okay, second trade, it does that again, and it goes. Third trade, it does that again, and then it goes. And then here we are, we're like, I have this problem, Naveen. How do I make sure I don't do this? That means you haven't put enough thought into why this is happening over and over again, and you haven't meditated on it enough that you will solve this problem next time you're there. Your emotions of trying to get into the trade are far superior than the knowledge of, I know I normally get in too early. You see, you need to get that knowledge higher where it overtakes your emotion. Where when that trade is getting ready, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I know by my past data, I get in too early. Hold on, not yet, not yet. And force yourself to overcome that emotion. Like literally force yourself. Yeah. And if that means you missed a trade, you missed a trade. But at least get that data that you missed a trade once, you missed a trade twice, you missed a trade 3 times. Then you're like, okay, so I got to get in a little bit sooner. You'll find that sweet spot by doing that. But you need to reflect back on it as much as you can and be like, this is a problem. I need to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. So post-analysis will help you dive into that hardcore.
So just like the previous question, basically, it comes down to gathering statistics, looking back at what you've done. And then based on that, those statistics, you see, okay, I'm looking at the right setups. I'm just getting in too early. And those two things are essential.
Yeah. So emotions have no role in this world of trading, Having that said, the answer is not turn to a robot and saying, listen, Mr. EA, I want you to take over my trading for me. And then, that's not the answer either, unless it's artificial intelligence. That's different. But a normal robot or an EA or any EA labeled as an AI, and now I'm just using letters, right? An EA is an expert advisor sold by people for MetaTrader, which will trade on your behalf. Garbage. Okay. I don't want to use bad words, but garbage. Okay. Then there's AI. Do not mix those two. An EA can be called an AI, which is artificial intelligence. That is just a word they're labeling on it. That is false marketing. It is not artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence learns from the mistakes, gets better. No human interaction necessary.
Yes.
Okay. You need to know the difference. So anyone labeling their EA, it's an AI, run. Okay.
Run. In the end of the day, it's just a script that's written by humans, like if, then, and it's nothing else. But if that script can learn from its own mistakes, then we're talking about artificial.
Then it's an artificial intelligence. Correct. If then situations, which means if this happens, then do this, you're not going to make it in trading, because that's how the normal brain is trying to process a strategy. A strategy on its own never works in trading. You need to filter multiple scenarios coming at you, which you cannot program over and over and over again, because each trade is like a snowflake. So what conditions will you use now? What conditions will you use now? What condition will you use now? So having that said, it's unique, like a fingerprint or a snowflake. The human brain has a better adaptability still as of right now, even in the world of AIs. Yeah. Make your brain a lot more powerful. That would be my advice. Just get better. Look at situations. You'll be surprised. Your brain will automatically do the work for you.
Yeah.
Automatically. Just give it enough exposure to it.
Yeah, it's
sorry, I went a little bit too long in that one, but sorry.
I said it's underestimated how smart our brain is, actually.
It is. People just look to robots and be like, oh, robot is better than me. He doesn't make mistakes. Man, you don't know how powerful your brain is. It is incredibly powerful. Yeah. So it's just we're trained by media that we're all small, dumb creatures until we get a bachelor's degree in our hand. And then we get the bachelor's degree and we're like, why don't I have a job? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's just a big circle of a mess,
Yeah. So we are smarter than machines so far. Next question is by John. Hi, Naveen and the rest of the team. How much is there to learn? Does knowledge ever stop?
No. Okay, so that's a good question. I think they're all like, did you organize these questions in such a way, or they all seem to be lined up in a very systematic format?
No, the machine did that for me.
Yeah. Was it labeled AI? So okay, John. So that's a very good question. Trading should never end the learning process. You know why? Because the trading keeps evolving as well. As you've seen, cryptos have come into the space, options come in, futures come in. So it keeps evolving. And as it keeps evolving, you need to understand what is there more to learn. So if you're a Forex trader and you're like, currency, charts, calendar based on economic news. And then this new coin stuff comes out and they're like, we use computer to computer ledgers and technology to do all this stuff. And you're like, what? it's like you need to keep up to date and try to study more things to understand where is the industry turning to. Doesn't mean it's going to take over, but I want to know. Yeah. You have to learn these things, get your feet wet, throw in a couple $100 and be like, let me buy this Bitcoin and stuff. And let me see how it operates. Let me see what the spreads are. Let me see if there's slippage. Let me see all these firms, how they're handling it. Is it just a fee-based system just to take money off of fees when there's actually no value anywhere? You cannot judge it unless you try it.
Yeah.
Okay. So learning it constantly is a must. Never stop learning and never go to anyone who says, I know how to trade, I know how to do this, and I'm good. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Constantly develop. It is like studying a computer. There's so much to learn. It's endless.
Yeah, and I think you can even take that one step further in your life in general. You always have to keep on learning. Otherwise, you'll be that grumpy old man who's like, oh, computers, I don't like it. Like, I don't understand. Yeah. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah. What is this TikTok?
Yeah.
It's like, you see, and it's true, right? It's true. Like, because see, I'm not on TikTok, but then I'm getting into TikTok because the whole thing is like, what is this TikTok thing? Same thing happened with Instagram with me. All my friends like, hey, you on Instagram? Like, what is Instagram? Like, I felt like a monkey, from the primitive times. Like, Instagram, what? Ooh. It's like, so I picked up Instagram. I got used to it. I'm like, oh, cool. It makes sense. It's quite nice, actually. And I started to like it. There's so many things that you should always step up your box that you have and always try to expand that box. As you get old, that box goes from cardboard to cement. And you will not live outside that box because you feel you know how the world works and how the world should operate. Never live like that, because the world works on evolution. If you do this, there's no evolution. You will pass away horribly. Okay? Yeah, always adapt.
Or just grumpy.
Or just grumpy. Yeah, no one likes a grumpy person.
It doesn't mean you have to like everything that's new, but at least give it a shot, try it, see if it's for you, and then at least you know how it works, and then at least then you're more open to try the next thing, and maybe you'll fall in love with that. So
maybe. If you're an older person, you're a grandfather, hang out with your grandkids and be like, open me that TikTok account or that Instagram account. Let's see what we can do. Let's dance together. Put me on that thing. We will be there to thumbs up for you. You got to get in there. You got to get involved. You'll be surprised that how fun some of these things are.
I can probably get more thumbs up than the rest of the people because you stand out.
Also, yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Just do it.
Anyway, I'm doing a horrible job of keeping this fast. So let's go to the next one. Is by Maridi Mendoza. Okay. How to become disciplined in trading. How to make sure you follow your trading plan.
Okay, so I don't think that has to do with a trading plan. If this is a problem that you've encountered multiple times and now you're asking, how do I have that trading discipline? I think let's remove the word trading and let's talk about discipline itself. I think discipline is a big problem there. And if discipline is a problem, which means you're unable to do that routine thing that is required for you to get better, chances are, if you're asking this question, you already know what needs to be done to get better, but then the discipline is not there. Then the way around it is not to force yourself to do that trading discipline. The way around it is to hack your brain into understanding what a discipline is. Okay, what I mean by that is start off the day with doing small things. Like if you wake up, fold your blanket in a certain way. It's so simple, so small, so easy, but you're training your mind that I'm going to do this every single day. Oh, super easy. I can do that. You add in another discipline. I'm going to brush my teeth in the morning as soon as I wake up and also in the night before I go to bed. Okay, I can do that. Super easy. Takes one minute or less. Okay. You should brush a little bit longer, please. But It's like I knew that was coming from somewhere. Like, did you say 1 minute? Like, oh my God, dude, go to the dentist. It's like,
3 minutes,
you,
then
you get what I
floss,
mean.
and then with Listerine also flush.
Hey, we want to give them easy discipline, not difficult discipline. Like, baby steps, baby steps.
Just covering
All
all
right.
angles here.
So little pieces of discipline like this is gonna turn you more hardcore into saying, give me bigger projects that I can be disciplined with. You'll be able to tackle them because you have confidence now of, yeah, if you need me to do this for 90 days, I can do it for 90 days. Otherwise, the discipline lasts only an hour for the average person. If you want to, like, you watch a video on YouTube and you're like, yeah, you get so pumped up and you want to do something, that adrenaline rush, 1 hour. After that's gone, and you're like, I'm going to get into that new workout routine that I just watched. A good an hour later, you're like, cool, cool. Starting tomorrow, I do this. Tomorrow comes along.
Nah,
You know what?
or tomorrow again.
Tomorrow, man, tomorrow. Today, I got kids, man. Kids come first. Priorities. Like, I got to pay the bills. I got to go to work. Like, there's so many excuses that will come along the way to put the discipline aside. So, Armo, you're like partial military guy right here, right? You're like hardcore at Urban Forex. When there's one person who is like ultra strict, it's you. What do you do? What do you do on stuff like this?
Well, there's some hacks, but not all hacks work for everyone.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call myself, an expert on this at all. But I think you just have to make sure that whatever rules you're trying to follow, make sure you can make them work for you. So, for instance, what I like to do is when I know I have to do something. So let's say I'm training for some running race, and I know I have to train for it, but it's raining outside, and I don't really feel like going. But then I think about how good I will feel about myself once I'm done with it, and it's just that little motivation that I need to just get out there, do that run in the rain, come back, or I think about how nice the hot shower will be after that. So that's a little hack. Other hacks that can work, and taking a little bit back to trading, could be to just write down when you're about to diverge from your rule. So you've set a rule like, I'm only going to add a position size when, and then you're about to add a position size and you're writing down why, but it doesn't actually match your rule, then it's much harder to bullshit yourself when you're writing it down. So that is a hack. It works for most people, maybe not for everyone. And another thing that just today in the elite community, I saw somebody that was saying that before, doing a recording of my pre-market analysis seemed like a chore, but now I cannot do without. So there you see a discipline-based habit created. And this person cannot even trade without doing a self-recorded pre-market analysis anymore. Because it doesn't feel like it's reliable if it's not done in a serious way like that. So I think the bottom line is what I already said, is you have to make sure you can find a way to make the discipline work for you to turn into a habit. And it starts with what you say, with small things like putting your blanket in a certain way in the morning, brushing your teeth at the same time every day, in the morning and the evening,
3 hours.
So yeah, it's those small things, and then these thoughts about how good you'll feel about yourself after you do it the proper way, or after you do it at all, that can help. But you have to find what works for you.
No, I absolutely agree. I like the one that we said about the writing it down part. I was just thinking, but you need discipline to write it down. Right? It's like there's a loophole there.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot easier to force yourself to write down, whenever you do something. So, or you can train that by saying, every morning when I wake up, I write 2 sentences about the dream I had, or every night before I go to bed, I write 2 sentences about my day, what I'm grateful for, or something like that. A lot of people say that it's great for your feeling of happiness to write down what you're grateful for at the end of the day. So, start with something simple like that.
I think I'd like to add to that because there's a routine I follow. But one of the things I like to add to that is if you are able to conquer that small steps, the little stuff that will start your discipline to get going. If you are able to conquer it, then I would say if you can build a morning routine.
Yeah.
That could be a huge project. That morning routine of like, when I wake up in the morning, I look myself in the mirror and I tell myself who I am, what I'm going to do today, and how I'm going to kick butt. Little things like that. I do stuff like that where the average person will like, oh, this guy's creepy, man. But it works for me. It's what I do for myself to get going, get in the shower. I think of ideas. I'm making sure I wash every part of my body, but I'm also thinking, I'm meditating. I'm thinking about what am I going to do in terms of this day, how I'm going to make sure this day is the best that I can perform. And while I'm doing that, once I'm done thinking, I play with the hot water, cold water to make sure my entire body wakes up and feels every piece of the temperature change.
Yeah.
So little things like that make me focused at all times. And this is all part of my morning routine. There's a whole bunch of things that I do also, but the morning routine is that portion where I have to do that. Then there's some parts where I do get lazy sometimes and I don't finish it. So what I did was I replaced certain things where I'm getting lazy with, and I put in a team call, okay, with my prop traders. And I'm like, now they're all waiting on you. You got to be there.
Yeah.
So now I force myself to be disciplined indirectly. So if you find something like that to do where you're like, I don't want to be responsible, you're responsible, then do it. You'll do it enough times, it'll become a habit.
External pressure is strong as well. Because in your mind, that's why the writing is powerful. Because in your mind, you can tell yourself any lie you want. But as soon as you put pen to paper, then it's physically there. You can't really put a lie on paper, or it's much harder. And the same goes, and it's probably even more powerful, is when you tell somebody else. Because then, there's that external pressure. What will that person think of you if you're just telling random stuff, or
exactly
if they're waiting for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Let's
so
have
that was the fastest one, I think, amongst all of them.
By far fastest one. So this one, I think this one, I have a good feeling about it. We can do it. This is a question asked by Tim. What lot size do beginners trade?
All right. So one standard lot is 100,000 units. As a beginner, you want to trade at least 2,000 standard lots. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't do that. Okay. All right. So this is a common question to ask, and it has a lot to do with money management. I don't know how big the account size is. I don't care if there's 100, 200, $300,000 in the account. I want you to trade small. Very, 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 very small, because you use the word in there as a beginner.
Yeah.
That means you know yourself that the skills are not present. If the skills are not present, even $1 will go to waste.
Yeah.
Why waste that $1? If you can go demo, please go demo.
Yeah.
Okay. Many people will garbage nonsense out of this thing saying, yeah, but if I don't trade real money, I don't feel it, blah, blah. It's like, shut up with that nonsense. Like, the reality is, why waste money for you to feel something? I mean, what are you, billionaire or something like that? Like, you don't stop listening to that type of advice. You're not a billionaire where it's like, cut me so I can feel life. Like, no, you're like, please don't be crazy like that. So be real with yourself. If you're a beginner, that means initial stages, you're going to lose money. Why I am so hot about this topic is because I lost close to $55,000, $60,000 when I started off within the first few years, because I thought I knew it all. Let me explain to you. This is not $50,000, $55,000 of my money. This is $50,000, $55,000 on a credit card. Okay. So that's not even my money. I had to pay it for years on end to come with interest and all that stuff. And I was like, but I was so close. I was so close. There's no such thing. You're so close in the beginning. If you're starting off, just know in the back of your mind, it will take time. If anyone tells you that you're going to do it very quickly, very fast, and you see that red Ferrari that I have, you can have it overnight. Sorry, is this going to be the new thing? Am I going to turn into a meme or something? Like,
unless that person is giving the Ferrari to you, like start to run. And also, if you see Naveen with finger gun, start to run.
it's like,
or when he starts to talk about 2 legs slowing down.
But yeah, I think the key word there is not how many lots I should trade. The key word there is as a beginner. That's the word that I'm more focused on. If that's the word, that means you know and I know that there is risk involved. If there's risk involved, why use any amount of money when you can do the exact same trading on a demo account? Identical.
Yeah, I think trading, it comes down to a lot of things tying in together. And yes, the skills and knowing how to read the market, trading on a demo account is one part. And then another part is also knowing how to do it with a live account. But why not first build that first part on a demo account without the risk?
You know why this is feasible? You guys have all seen webinars where I talk about what we do in real life, we do not do in trading.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the thing. Many people who are in their 9-to-5 job, aren't they thinking, all right, I'm going to try trading. If all goes good, I'll quit my job, right? That's normal thinking, right?
Exactly.
Why is that not same precautionary thinking in when getting ready to trade and saying, let me go demo. If all good, I'll put in money.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not that thinking? Why doesn't it apply there? Why does that get skewed and be like, but if I do it faster, maybe I'll make money faster? No. It doesn't work like that. You got to use the same logic you would use everywhere else in your life and do it here as well. It'll keep you safe. It's what you've trained growing up, and it's the right training that you have.
Yeah.
Passed down from generation.
It's a little bit wet before start to swim and start to cross an ocean. Yes.
Before you go, I think because that topic is so hot about how fast to trade, what I'll do, I think in the next podcast, if you can, I'll give you some of the prop traders I'm training right now. Maybe have a talk with them and let them share their experiences. Now, these are senior level people, going in hardcore day and night, studying all this stuff. See what their experience is. Let them tell you firsthand. These guys have capital through me. They're trading my money on the line. Let them tell you what they've gone through to get to that position. Yeah. I think that might be a good interview to do and have them share their experiences.
That sounds good. Maybe they'll use a lot less finger guns, and
it's like, no, they know the finger gun.
Right. Next question is by Samuel Kayo. It actually ties in with the previous question. How or when do you know it's time to trade with real money?
When you have at least 3 months of consistent results, I'd say then do it. That's being safe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So 3 months of consistent results. If you want my advice, 6 months to a year of consistent results, then go live. But if you're in a hurry, like you can't wait, 3 months minimum. If you do that any sooner than that, just Armo, you can just add in your bank account number below and let's just have people transfer you money instead. It's like, at least you can donate it to the right cause.
Yes.
So
that would be me, indeed.
Yeah. So it's don't just waste it like that. You worked hard. Like I think if I were to take 5 minutes in this quick fire round, it's like if I were to take 5 minutes and have everyone take a moment and understand one thing. The money that's in your bank that you're about to risk in a trade or in the market, I want you to really understand how that money got there into your account. Did it get there with you working hard, your intellect, you're waking up early when the alarm's ringing and you don't want to wake up, and you go into the office or wherever you're working and you do your job, whatever it may be, and then 2 weeks later or a month later, you get that salary coming in, you're like, you're going to risk that money just like that?
Yeah.
If you're going to risk it just like that, that means you're in a bad job. That means your job, you're not working in your job because you don't care for that money. That means you're a bad employee. That's not good either.
No.
But if you've worked for that money, then I will assure you, you will not spend that money just like that in the hopes that it can make more money. Okay? Be real with yourself. You worked hard for it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it.
Yeah. And if I can add to that, so once you know, after those 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, if you know, okay, now I have my statistics on my demo account, I'm going live, and then still go live with small amount, like risk small percentage of your account.
Yes. Still go very, very small. Make sure there's nothing that was missing that you didn't experience.
Yeah.
Go small.
It does make a change, or it does make a difference if you're trading with live money compared to a demo account. And even if it's a small amount, and then gradually build it as you get good results. Only if you get good results. Don't think, oh yeah, I did like a bunch of like small money trades and they weren't great, but you know, it doesn't matter. It was only small money. Now I'm going to do it seriously with bigger money. No, get it done with small money first.
It's surprising how many people go straight in. And these are the people who get taken advantage of in our industry, unfortunately, especially in the education space, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. There's a reason why we don't have a target audience of newbies, right? It's because a newbie will generally take his education from anywhere, because a newbie is so bent on making money right now. I can't take that person's money and feel comfortable and sleep at night. It's just really uncomfortable. So where we are as Urban Forex, instead of being a $200 million company, where we are is, I know you're going to struggle. I know you're going to burn yourself. And I know at that point you want some good education. And then you're going to come to me with very limited funding available to purchase anything. And I'm going to be like, fine, let me help you.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we are. That's where we stand, Urban Forex, within the industry. So, because if we stand in the beginning, right where the newbies begin, you'll be surprised that we won't be able to get in the newbies into our program if we're upfront and honest, like we are with everything else.
Yeah.
They're not going to listen to us if we say, this is going to take some time. They're going to be like, screw this guy, man. That guy's saying I'm going to be ready in 48 hours. I just have to follow some Telegram group and buy when he buys and sell when he sells. Here's $5,000 of all of my savings.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. But
yeah,
we've never got into that space.
Indeed. All right, let's go to the next question, which is by Alex. And this is a very common one. What advice do you give someone who wants to leave their 8 to 5 employment into a full-time trade? I always find myself when the London and New York sessions, I'm engaged at work and nothing happens during the Asian session. I have a family and they also demand their time. I'm currently the only breadwinner and it's not that easy to say I will just quit my job and go full-time without a backup plan. How should I approach my scenario?
Okay, that's very nice. So Alex, one thing I would like to say is, first of all, kudos to you that even with a job, a family, kids, and the time that you need to spend, you are still looking to grow. Thumbs up there already. Most people at that point start their box, right? And they just stop living at that moment. They begin their box and they start saying, okay, let's begin the concrete. Let's start living like this for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for trying to be better, whether even if it's in trading or whatever it is. So I just wanted to start off by saying that. So when it comes to trading, if you want a quick answer, stick with the higher time frames for you. Being an 8 to 5 thing, you want something that doesn't require too much of an attention. You want to be able to analyze your charts little by little on a daily basis, bite-sized, so that way you can look at it throughout the day. Maybe you're at lunch and you just open up your laptop and you're like, let me see where the charts have progressed. Let's say you're on the daily chart. You're like, cool. You do your analysis. You're like, I'm looking for an entry there. You get home, you spend time, you have your dinner, you're doing whatever you have to do. You're looking back at the charts and like, You know what? I think the entry should be around here because I'm afraid of this area. You have more time to fine print that analysis rather than that hurry of, I only have 1 hour today, so let me see what I can do. Don't do that. Don't trade a smaller time frame because it's going to end up taking your money. Trade a higher time frame, and take your time to do the analysis. The trade setups will take its time. Trade small, go for multiple R's, 1 to 2 R's on average. And then whenever the trade is done, try to make sure on the weekends you spend so much time, as much time as you can spare, into doing your post analysis and making sure is all the pieces in here, whatever I did right or wrong, did I really take in all that information? Because you're not doing 100 trades per week like everybody else is, so you're limited to studying that one trade. And if you have other people doing trades like that, you need to study those trades as well and be like, what do they do wrong? What do they do right? It's very similar to my style of trading. Can I learn from that as well? So you want to really reel in the post analysis. So your main job in the beginning is not to trade from the daily, but once the trade is done, your main job is what was right and wrong with this. That's where the work is, not the trade itself. The trade, I can care less. Put $1 on that thing. Find out what was right and wrong with this trade. Understand that, get the next trade, try to do it better. And that will slowly take you in an incline. And when the time is right, you can look about that. Should I transition? Maybe you like your job, stay in your job. It's okay. Everyone needs a fulfillment somewhere, right? Stay in that job if you like it. And you can decide that if you want to go full-time or even part-time, so you can keep your job and increase the trading side a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's really important to, when you trade a higher time frames in general, to take so much more away from the post analysis, because there's so much to learn from each trade. And if you have more time to spend on one trade, then do that and get all of it out. And one thing I'd also like to add here is that on weekends or whenever you have time, try to practice simulations. So there's different simulation softwares, and you can practice trade setups on that, and then you can get a whole bunch of trades in. And maybe even there you take a little bit slower. You even do post analysis on those, and learn as much as you can from those.
Correct. So in a very quick repetition on that, do not forget the main importance is not the trade itself, is the post analysis of that trade. That is key for you at this stage.
Yeah.
Do not forget that part. If you don't do that part and look for the next trade, this trading world will not open up for you. You need to make sure you do the post analysis, as that's the most important, because you're only getting one trade every couple of days, maybe once a week even. So you got to do that post analysis as hardcore as possible.
Yeah, cool. And that will take us to the last question.
Okay.
Asked by Sashi.
Okay.
Hey, Naveen, this is a psychological question. I'm a day trader. I've been watching the charts for hours while I'm trading, and even when I'm not trading, my mind is in constant lookout for trading opportunities. I feel like my life is getting sucked into trading. It would be helpful to know what your thoughts are on balancing life and my trading.
I love that question. It's so zen. It's like, nice. It's an important question to ask. And I'll tell you why this is so important, because what you're going through right now, every single one of my prop traders are going through. You're not in this alone. Every single one of them is going through, because once you start getting a little feel of, I know how to trade, I know how to do this well, there's so much opportunity out there that you're like, when you're going to bed, you're like, am I going to miss something? When you're waking up in the morning, let me just quickly check the charts in case there's something there. There's so much of that you constantly feel this pressure of, I know more than 95% of the world knows, so why don't I use my talent? Right? That's a even though it's a good thing, most people will die to be in that position. It is also its own problem. So just because I know better, does that mean I need to trade all the time? So it's something you should, definitely sit and think about. I used to be like that I was down on the 10-second chart, trading with my mentor back in the day on the futures market. And it's tough. It's tough. There's always a time when you're like, oh, it's busy. I should trade. There was no cutoff time. I started to realize I'm spending less time with my girlfriend, spending less time doing fun things like going out and doing stuff like that. Even though fun for me is questionable, fun always to me means work. Work and trading is fun for me. I enjoy it. Like I love it, you know? So that's fun for me. But I was missing out on the social aspects of life. And I think if you're really real with yourself, the word you said, balance, is so important. It's so important. You want to be a better trader, you need to do things that are not trading. It's weird. It's like a oxymoron. You want to be a better person at a relationship, you want to make sure you're not always working on that relationship all day long. You need to step away from whatever you're doing or whatever you're trying to accomplish every now and then so you can come back with a fresh mind again.
Yes.
So I think what you raise is a very important question, Sashi, and spend some time thinking about it. Is bring up something that's in your mind thinking, what is important to you? What is, maybe answer this question. Who are you trading for? If that's a person if that's a person, then that person might be neglected now while you're on this journey. You don't want to do that. Yeah. You want to make sure you don't neglect that person now because you're trying to take care of that person in the long run, but maybe the time now is being neglected, and that's not good either. If you're doing it for a material possession, to pay for certain means, then I can understand, but maybe it's time to step away a little bit so you're not always looking at the markets, because if you're always looking for opportunities, it will take from you. So it actually works that way too. If you get burned out, it will take money from you, and you don't want to do that either.
Yeah, I think it's just like an investment portfolio. You need to diversify what you invest in. And it's the same thing in life. Just diversify what you spend your time on, because time is your most valuable commodity. So, right. Yeah, spend it wisely.
Correct. If you were to ask a person like me or some of my prop traders about the same thing, this wouldn't come up at all, because we generally live, breathe, eat trading. That's all we do. That's all we do. This is what we specialize in. I don't have time to take a picture of me and go on Instagram and then say, my life is good. I don't have time for that. I really don't have time for that. I rather be in front of my charts, discussing charts and saying what was right with this trade, what was wrong with this trade, really getting into the nitty gritty of all this stuff with my peers. So that's who I am. But if the question ever comes up as how do I balance something, that means you yourself, something inside you is saying you're spending too much time in this. You need to break away. You need to listen to that. There's nothing I can tell you. You need to listen to that inner voice that's telling you, you need to balance this stuff out. That means you're not all about trading. You're using trading as a means, which is fine, but do not neglect what requires your attention. And so listen to that inner voice that's telling you, you need a balance. Do that balance. Find a way to take a break and say, maybe trade a higher time frame for a while. See if that helps.
Yeah, that's a good practical tip. And another practical tip I was thinking about is just to set certain hours for trading, and you don't look at the charts outside of those hours.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. So if you're on the hourly chart and you're going to trade London, 2 hours before London, you get ready. And then once London lunch happens, you're done. You're done. No more.
Yeah.
Okay. You give yourself that 2 hour prior to London to do your analysis, to do your preparations, and you have a cutoff time. And if you're trading the 1 hour charts, do not sit there on your screen. Come back every hour and see how the candle closes and be like, what do I do now? Yeah. If you're trading the 4 hour charts, come back every 4 hours. No need to stare at it. Yeah. So there's many things that can be done, but I think the key piece is something inside you is telling you you need a balance. You need to listen to that voice, and you got to get at that balance.
I think that's a nice way to wrap it up.
Find the balance. I mean, should I go to the movies immediately after this? You want to go watch Fast and Furious or something? It's like, as we wrap it up, what do you do for balance? What about you, Armo? Like you're in urban forex, literally as much as I know, if I'm online, you're online. So I'm like, what is I'm crazy, but how is he crazy? What do you do for having that balance?
Well, I'm pretty strict on my hours, but that
Mhm.
also comes with a fairly strict morning routine. So there's not more than 10 minutes difference between each day that I wake up and when I start to do trading or urban forex things. And I also try to keep a cutoff time later in the day. Now, this is a bit more difficult because at the end of the day, there's less discipline. It's like at the beginning of the day, it's easy to not get that chocolate or whatever sweet stuff you have.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's harder to not touch that, right? So it's the same thing here for me, because I've been involved with urban forex for so long. I know it's your baby more than anything else, but it's also a little bit my baby. Like I'm like
Yeah, you're the uncle, man. You're the uncle.
so yeah, and this is just we're all humans at the end of the day, and we can talk about discipline and how some people are more disciplined than others, but no one's perfect. No one's doing everything to the letter every day, and that's also the beauty of being human. That there's flexibility and agility to that, and there's always room to improve and to grow. And yeah, I just try to keep a strict schedule, and some days that works better than others. But overall, I always try to improve that.
It's good. It's good. So that's the way you balance it out. Make sure you're not always work, work, work.
Yeah, and of course, you need to know what other stuff you enjoy. So I like to stay fit and do outdoor things as much as I can, or as the heat allows. I just enjoy, especially on the weekends and in the evenings, I just enjoy cycling outdoors as much as I can. That physical part of it that really balances out the sitting down that trading really is. Even if you have a stand-up desk, it's you're in one position looking at a screen most of the time. So I enjoy doing something that's like the opposite of that. Is it's not a screen and it's very, very physical. So
Right.
balance.
Yeah. I think it's important. It's important. Um, so I hope, Sashi, you find the answer. And if you can, Sashi, when you do find the answer, share it with us. We'd like to know what actions you've taken to balance it up. I know it's not a trading per se related question, but it's such an important question that you bring up that many people overlook. And I think the direction you're heading, the direction how you're really listening into your voice and looking for the answer, I think it's automatically also going to make you a superb trader because you're able to listen to your instincts.
Yeah, there's a certain awareness about things, and that's the
Yes.
first step to progress.
Yes. So I'm, very happy to hear that question. It's very deep. It's a strong question. It applies to everybody and any walk of life. It doesn't have to be just trading. So please, if you do get the answer, share it with us. We'll be happy to hear what you've done. And thank you for asking that question. And thank you everyone for asking all your questions. Was it Samad, Alex, Natalie, Sashi? Sorry?
Well, I can do it because I have it in front of me. So it's Mohammed, James, Tumbetso, Greg,
Mohammed.
Talia, Dulash, Hamilton, Samad, Marianne, John, Murray D, Tim, Samuel, Alex, and Sashi.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to go down my memory, but that's fine. But yeah. Thank you, all of you guys, with all the questions that you guys had. Thank you, Armo, for bringing this up. I think it was a great idea to do it like this. I think whenever there are more,
for making this fast firing question round.
Yeah, no problem.
So horribly.
It's like any more fast rounds you have, you let me know. I will spare 3 hours of my day. But no problem. I think it's a good thing. A lot of these questions are important. We should answer them. And if you do get more from all the social media networks, what are these questions come in? Please save them up and let's answer them. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So good way to bring it up. We'll definitely do it.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Thank you, Naveen.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.